Hi, my name is Terry, and you're watching Terry Tells the Story. Today we're going to be talking about five child predators who learned the hard way. In the world of the general population, there is no ambiguity about the hierarchy. At the top are the men who followed the code. At the bottom, in the dirt, are the skinners. These are the men who targeted the innocent. And inside the wire, the law isn't written in books, it's written in blood. Look at Richard Huckle. This was a parasite who masqueraded as a Christian missionary and a teacher to gain access to impoverished communities in Malaysia. Convicted of nearly 200 counts of sexual abuse against children and infants, he was a prolific pedophile who operated on a global scale. He didn't just abuse children, he ran a systematic campaign of depravity against nearly 200 victims, some as young as 6 months old. He kept a digital scorecard, ranking his crimes and sharing 20,000 images and videos of his rapes on the dark web. He thought his 22 life sentences at Full Sutton Prison meant he was safe behind a steel door. He was wrong. In 2019, the code found him. A fellow inmate, Paul Fitzgerald, cornered Huckle in his cell. Fitzgerald didn't just kill him, he subjected Huckle to a 90-minute ritual of horrific torture. He bound him, strangled him, and eventually used a makeshift shank to drive it through Huckle's nose and into his brain. The message was clear. If you hunt the vulnerable, you become the hunted. He lives every single day knowing that the moment the guards look away, the yard is coming for what's left of him. Then you have Roy Whiting. In the summer of 2000, he snatched an 8-year-old, Sarah Payne, from a field while she was playing with her siblings. He abducted her, murdered her, and dumped her naked body in a shallow grave. He thought the legal system's minimum term was his only worry, but the inmates at Wakefield Prison had a different sentence in mind. Over the last 20 years, Whiting has been a living target. He was slashed across the face with a razor, leaving a permanent 6-inch reminder of his crime. Later, another inmate used a sharpened plastic toilet brush to stab Whiting directly into both of his eyes. Next is Ian Huntley. He was a school caretaker who used his position of trust to lure 10-year-olds Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman to his home. He murdered both of them, dumped their bodies in a ditch, and set them on fire to destroy the evidence. Since his conviction, Huntley has survived multiple attempts on his life. He has had boiling water poured over him and his throat opened with a shank made of melted plastic and razor blades. He required 21 stitches just to stop him from bleeding out. He spends 23 hours a day in a cage because the code dictates that a man who burns children doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as the rest of the yard. The fourth case is Robert Howard, a serial pedophile and child killer. He had a long history of sexual offenses against young girls and was convicted of the murder of 14-year-old Arlene Atkinson, whom he abducted and murdered after a disco in 1994. He was a career criminal who thought he knew how to navigate the system. But the system inside is different. While serving time, Howard became a constant target for physical assaults. Inmates used his high-profile status to ensure he never had a moment of peace. The pressure was so relentless, the constant threat, the tampering with his food, and the knowledge that he was being hunted in every hallway, that he eventually collapsed under the weight of his own shadow. He died in prison, a broken man who spent his final years looking over his shoulder, knowing that the inmates were just waiting for a lapse in security to finish the job. Finally, there's the case of Gregory Bluey Brazel. His most hated crimes involved the abduction sexual assault, and murder of children, including a 12-year-old girl. When he arrived in the yard at Pentridge, he wasn't just another prisoner. He was a trophy. Inmates who lived by the thieves' code viewed him as less than human. He was subjected to a boiler attack, where inmates mix sugar and boiling water to create a prison napalm that sticks to the skin and causes third-degree burns. The sugar ensures that the water doesn't just run off, it sears the flesh to the bone. Brazel was left permanently disfigured, a walking reminder to the entire population of what happens to those who prey on the innocent. He spent the rest of his life as a pariah, a man who couldn't walk, eat, or sleep without the code, reminding him of the price of his depravity. The law might have a scale, but the yard has a blade. For these 5 men, the real sentence didn't start in a courtroom. It started the moment the general population found out what was in their file. So the Spanish I'm going to be teaching you today is la sentencia final. La sentencia final. And what that means is the final sentence. If you like this video or you learned something new, drop a like down below. If you have a specific topic that you'd like to see me cover, drop me a comment. And if you'd like to support this work that I do, there'll be a link to the Cash App in the description box below. We'll see you next time.